Am I the asshole for telling the girl who kissed my boyfriend for a play that she is desperate and pathetic? Would I be the asshole for refusing to stop cooking bacon in my kitchen due to my teenage daughter's vegan lifestyle? Am I the asshole for pretending to get fired when customers get a temper with me? I'm a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. My coworkers who work weekends are James, the owner's son. He goes to my school. Shift manager, but it's not a real formal thing. He's a friendly guy. Danielle, college student who sometimes work weekends too. So sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about such little stuff, like literally blow up about nothing. I don't know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for something to take it out on or what, but it's a lot. Like, how sad do you have to be a grown-ass man taking your anger out on high school and college kids? So James and I were joking about having a little fun with them and hopefully getting them off our backs. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we don't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. So James came in and was like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the guy started ranting at him too. So he was just like, "Oh, Pete, this is unacceptable. You're fired." I started acting real sad, like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job. Please." And he played up being a hard telling me to take off my apron and leave. The angry guy started to backtrack, like, "It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service." Of course, after all that drama, I still have my job. We were just acting, and we've done it a couple times. Whenever a customer will lose their temper at Danielle or I, James will storm in and fire us. And almost every time, the person who had come in angry will apologize and say that they didn't mean it. It's kind of satisfying making people realize their actions might actually have consequences. Anyway, I was telling my friends from school about this, and a few of them thought it was a mean prank to let someone go away thinking they'd gotten someone who desperately needs the money fired. Am I the asshole for this joke? Not the asshole. I think it's hilarious, and maybe it'll teach some people a lesson about controlling their assholery. You're not an asshole at all. You're the hero retailers need. Brilliant. Esh. The customers are obviously assholes for being assholes for no good reason. Yes, you are a little bit of an asshole. Is it justified? Absolutely. Are you still an asshole? Yes. Unfortunately, in a customer service role, you're always going to have to deal with people who are angry over absolutely nothing. It's part of the job. Is it fair? No. In a perfect world, those customers would not exist. But we live in a reality, and that is part of the reality, especially of that job. Not the asshole. Some places have mirrors placed between the counter because it's proven that people behave better when they can see what they look like when they act out. Some people seriously need a wake-up call when they start misbehaving. I agree with most of the people here. I don't think this person's an asshole at all. Am I the asshole for making a dad joke? Note, my stepdaughter Madeline was about a year old when I married her mother Jessica. Madeline's father died before she was born. Madeline is currently 15 and she's rebelling for almost everything. She did something bad, so while picking her up, I set a punishment up for her. Then she said, "You're not my dad. I don't have to follow you." Honestly, I got a bit hurt from that, but I understand that she didn't mean it and that she'd probably change. I just replied, "I'm still your legal guardian for the next 3 years, and as long as you're in my house, you have to follow my rules." That happened about 2 days ago. So our family was going grocery shopping when Madeline said, "I'm hungry, I need food." I decided to be extremely cheeky and say, "Hi, hungry, I'm not your dad." My son just started to laugh uncontrollably. My daughter was just quiet with embarrassment, and my wife was berating me not to stoop down to her level. I honestly thought it was a funny dad joke, and my son agrees. So am I the asshole? Edit, I did adopt her, so legally I am her parent. Mini update. I'll probably give a full update later, but here is what happened so far. I go to my daughter's room after dinner and begin talking with her. "Hey, I'm really sorry that I hurt you by the words I said, and I really am your dad. I changed your diapers, I met your boyfriend, and I plan on helping you through college. And plus, I'm legally your dad, so we're stuck together, but seriously, I'm gonna love you like my daughter even if you don't think I'm your dad." Then I hugged her. She did start to cry, and I assume that's good. Everyone sucks here, but that was one hell of a joke, and I congratulate you for it. You're the asshole, but a small one. It's a fun joke, but wrong audience. Edit, well done recovery. Everyone sucks here, but A+ for execution. I thought it was funny, but I too am an asshole. It was kind of funny. Was it called for? No, but it was funny. Am I the asshole for not taking down my video that was a gift from my best man? I have a sister that's 6 years older than me. My parents for years cancel on me last minute because of my sister. I have a basketball game. Oops, sorry, sister doesn't feel like going out. I'm graduating. Oops, sorry, sister had a bad day at work. They have missed both major and smaller events in my life because of her meltdowns. I met the love of my life. We decided to tie the knot. From the beginning, I told my parents how I am worried my sister will ruin another special moment in my life. My mom told me over and over again it would not happen. The day of my wedding, I received a voicemail from my mom saying they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick and she was upset. I was hurt. My best man, however, is a jokester. He took my phone, then went to my fiance and asked if he could post a video of our wedding as a gift on social media. She loved his idea. I had no idea about it until I came home. Our honeymoon was at a lakeside cabin. No cell cell service. The post caption was, "My best friend. He is an amazing person even if his parents never showed up for him." Video was still pictures of us next to her parents, me on the dance floor cutting the cake, where you would normally see both parents in wedding pictures. The sound behind the video was my mom's voicemail explaining how they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick. I came home a week later to hundreds of messages, family members from both sides insisting I take it down. I was told my sister hasn't stopped crying. My mom is refusing to leave the house. I may be the asshole here. I didn't take it down when I got my messages. I didn't call my family back right away. I waited until my vacation time was over at work and enjoyed my time with my wife in our new home before I contacted anyone. My dad told me to take the video down. It was just a bad night for them, that they will make it up to me and my wife for not coming. My reply was exactly, "How do you plan to make up my wedding? It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You choose to ignore my feelings on the whole matter." Then he just repeated he will make it up to me. I told him I would take down the video only when he made up missing my wedding. Flustered, we both hung up the phone before we both said things we shouldn't have. Am I the asshole here? I could have just taken down the video. Not the asshole. The truth hurts sometimes, and your parents and sister just got whammied. Your friend is awesome. Please leave the video up. Not the asshole. They were finally called out on their blatant favoritism, and they obviously didn't take it well. I'd hold off inviting them anywhere or to anything, OP, at least for a while. Don't make them your first priority when you clearly aren't theirs. Focus on your new wife and your absolutely awesome best friend. They both sound like keepers. Not the asshole. I think I'm in love with the best man. He absolutely showed your parents favoritism and hypocrisy in the best way ever. I hope there will never be an invite to a baby shower, etc. So typically when someone asks you to take down a video of them because it's embarrassing, you do it because it's polite. But in this case, hard not the asshole. They didn't have a good reason to miss it, and they're rightfully mortified. They made the bed and they can lie in it. I absolutely agree with everyone here. If you're embarrassed by a video of you being bad, that means you know that you were doing the wrong thing. It's simple as that. Would I be the asshole for refusing to stop cooking bacon in my kitchen due to my teenage daughter's vegan lifestyle? Dad here, old fart, loves his daughter to pieces, but I'm struggling to see eye to eye with my teenager and wife on this one. We've always been a meat-eating family. We live in the rural Midwest, and bacon for breakfast is pretty much a given. This year, my 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan, and I jumped onto her support team with enthusiasm. We learned how to substitute ingredients, cook new things, try new things. I adjusted our budget to include more expensive vegan substitutes for her, etc. None of this has been a problem for me until recently. She saw me cook bacon in a pan, and then I rinsed it out to load in the dishwasher. She exploded in anger. Teen years, I'm not too fussed about the anger explosion. I know she doesn't mean it, and said that it was her pan for vegan food. I was completely floored and said, "Kiddo, this here is a family pan. Older than you. It's not your pan." She asked me to purchase her a pan that she could solely use for vegan food. I didn't want her to feel weird about food, so I said sure, and ordered her a few colored ones that are only for her. The reason they're colored is so it helps me remember that I'm not to touch them unless I'm cooking vegan. That wasn't good enough. Now apparently the dishwasher is contaminated with animal product, and the fridge has bacon grease fingers on it because I eat bacon and then touch the fridge. And she's asked me and her mom to completely stop eating meat at home. I don't mean I literally touch the fridge with greasy bacon hands, because I wash my hands, but it's clearly enough that it upsets my daughter. Frankly, I'm on team hell no. Her mom is much more amendable and strongly wants me to consider taking our daughter up on the request. My wife's reasoning is that both our parents live so close and we can eat meat products there, and that she doesn't want our daughter to feel uncomfortable in the kitchen. My daughter says she is fine with cheese and butter in the fridge, but it's specifically meat products that make her feel sick. Now I'm sorry for her, but I feel like she just needs to adapt and live side by side, because I'm not going to stop eating bacon in my own house. Not the asshole. Get her a special sponge she can use to wash her own dishes so she didn't have to use the tainted dishwasher. Not the asshole. She's 14. There is no middle ground at 14. My condolences, as it's going to be a long winter. Had a vegan roommate in the past. He used the fridge and dishwasher just fine. Time for a real world lesson for her. She's not always going to live with people who share her food lifestyle. She's got to learn to compromise. There is no reason to inconvenience yourselves and others because she's being a dramatic teen. Compromise. She has her own cookware and her own meat-free section of the fridge. Not the asshole. You're already being as supporting as you can, but at the end of the day, it's your house. You don't need to bend the knee to your daughter over this. Yeah, it definitely is, of course, teenagers being teenagers. Eventually, she will understand and get over it. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for wearing the joke bikini my friend got me? So it was my birthday a couple months ago and I had a party. Got some gifts. My friend Mandy got me a super cute bikini. I liked it. Said thanks. She had ripped the tags off, but whatever. Anyway, went to the community pool with my roommate, wore bikini, got in the water. Roommate immediately is like, girl, I look and see that this bikini is now kind of see-through. Haha, good joke, Mandy. Anyway, Mandy invited me over to her place to hang out with her and her BF and a few others. Most leave and we're still hanging out. I'm I'm like, hey, what if we got in your hot tub? I go change after them and meet her BF in the hot tub. She's getting new drinks. I hop in. Immediately, he's looking at my chest. I pretend I don't notice and just make small talk. She comes out a few minutes after and just looks in shock. Eventually gets in. Is that the one I bought? Yeah, I love it. I wear it everywhere. Make up some stuff about how I wore it to the beach and some party with a lot of guys, and she's just like, oh, we're in the tub for 20 or 30 minutes. Eventually get out and change, and she approached me after and was like, I'm sorry, thought you'd notice, but it goes kind of see-through. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why'd you buy me a fucking see-through bathing suit? She's like, it's a joke. Wait, you knew? So you just spent the last 30 minutes flashing my BF on purpose? I reply, I'm just wearing my birthday gift from her. Anyways, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Plus, it's not your fault. He was blatantly staring at your right in front of her. Edit, because it still isn't clear to literally anyone, I'm saying Mandy has nobody to blame but herself for what happened. Not the asshole. She knew what kind of gift she was giving you. You were just getting her back in a harmless way. No one's gonna die from seeing Now you can all have a laugh about it. Everyone sucks here. Her, for her buying you see-through clothing, and you for basically getting naked in front of her and her boyfriend. Nah, everyone sucks here if you squint. Her joke was just as harmless as yours. Not tasteful, IMO, but harmless and not holy. I don't see it as much as either of you being jerks, and more like a back and forth prank. Now you're on equal ground. Also, if her boyfriend was distracted, that's on him, not you. Obviously, it's embarrassing in the moment, but it's not going to have long-lasting effects besides maybe on their friendship. That's all I mean by harmless. That and the fact that I don't see that what she did was any worse than what her friend did. Yeah, I think this is an everyone sucks here moment for sure. I don't think anyone did anything that was, well, and good. I think it was all not malicious, but, well, maybe it was malicious, but I don't know. Am I the asshole for telling my son he deserved his girlfriend breaking up with him? So my son had a long-distance girlfriend recently for about 2 years. She was great. Really nice girl, and we all loved her, welcomed her with open arms. She was flying here constantly to visit him, like a weekend a month, and he didn't lift a finger to go visit her. I tried talking to him about it several times and told him he should really start looking into flying over to her instead of expecting her to do all the traveling. He said no, and my wife probably had something to do with it, as she constantly told him she was afraid of him flying. I spoke to them both and said this girl was great for him. She was willing to move over to our country too, but said there was one condition, and that was he'd have to fly over to her country too, which is fair enough. He said no. He didn't want to fly or travel anywhere. My son was becoming lazier and lazier, and eventually telling his GF and us that he was perfectly fine never traveling anywhere, including holidays, etc. Last week, he told us she's dumped him. I went on her Facebook page as we're still friends. She wrote us an apology letter about how she's upset it didn't work out, but things happen, so we're on good terms. It looks like she's with a new guy already. Me and my wife have no doubt she was seeing him while still in a relationship with my son. I confessed to them both that I actually agree with her decision, and he should have expected it. He did not treat her properly, and I hope he learns lessons for the next one, because he needs to make more of an effort. I said he deserves it for his lack of effort in the relationship, and for essentially just allowing this girl to spend all her money and time coming here all the time. Wife and son are very upset that I said this. Very, very upset, and my wife says I'm being horrible. Am I the asshole? I stand by what I said. Not the asshole. It's the truth he needs to hear. I'm more concerned about the reaction of your wife. Does she enable your son's laziness? Yes, LOL. He's a proper mummy's boy, and I just want him to grow up, to be fair. He's 24 now. Not the asshole. He's been too lazy with the relationship anyway. The girl deserves someone better, and your son needs to know that it takes effort to make a relationship work. Not the asshole. As Lizzo says, truth hurts, lol. Not the asshole. Your son needs to learn that relationships are about give and take. He can't do all the taking, and if you needed to be the one pointing it out, then so be it. Yeah, not the asshole here at all. Your wife coddling your 24-year-old son is kind of making her the asshole, if I'm being fair. Am I the asshole telling my parents to pay me back my college tuition if they want a relationship? I was raised by parents who believed religiously and just culturally in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, mom should stay home with the kids. I'm the only girl and have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation I'd stay home with kids, they never valued my education, educational achievements, or emphasized things beyond domestic skills. I'm the second youngest, and by the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to the college of their choice, with my parents fully covering tuition, books, an off-campus apartment, and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother. I was told I wasn't allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with the partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left, with essentially nothing but what a few friends gave to me that their parents bought them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on debt, and struggle. My parents and I have barely spoken for years. I'm married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park, and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I asked them specifically what they were sorry for. They wouldn't elaborate and just just said they wanted to move forward. I said that wasn't sufficient. In the end, I said they could prove they were sorry by forwarding me the $100,000 my degree and college expenses were, just like they did for my brothers. My mom burst into tears, and my dad said I wasn't being serious, and I just left. Since then, I've been getting calls from my brothers telling me I'm being immature and hurtful. I don't think so at all. Not the asshole. Hi from another engineer from a family filled with rage that she has all the talent the boys was never up to. As far as I can see, your answer to them was perfect. It was very fair, and if they have fixed their appalling bigotry issues, they would be falling all over themselves begging you to take the money. Since they clearly have not fixed their bigotry, you don't want them around your child. Never, ever poison children by allowing bigots in their presence. No exceptions. That includes your bigoted brothers. Edited to add, I have a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate all in engineering. You have no idea how angry this makes them. Hopefully you will too, and we can all watch the bigots faint from sheer rage together. Bwahaha. Not the asshole, that's a generic, sorry you're upset, non-apology. They're just around now because they want to influence the baby. The $100K ask is fair if they have the means to pay it. Wow. I would typically say that you would be the asshole, because expecting money from a family is never a good thing, but I am making an exception here. No, you're not the asshole. Being singled out like that because you are a woman is gross, and it's terribly unfair that your brothers got a free ride and you didn't for that one fact. Good on you though for making your own way in spite of them. Not the asshole. I'm proud of you, by the way. Despite your upbringing, you persevered. Keep staying strong and standing your ground. Not the asshole. Only showing up now to save their grandchild's soul. They just want to push their crap onto the next generation. I don't see a way how anyone could see that this person is the asshole, because this person is definitely not the asshole. Am I the asshole for sleeping naked on top of the covers to teach my flatmates GF a lesson? This should be good. New to Reddit, please bear with. So I, 21 guy, live with my childhood best friend, 22 also guy, and have done so for 2 years now. Up until last week, things were perfect between us. However, he recently got a new girlfriend, 23 lady, and she honestly seems absolutely great except for one thing. She seemingly has a complete aversion to knocking. She and I have quite a lot in common, and I actually like spending time with her. However, it bugs the hell out of me when she just barges into my room without knocking first. Now, she's never walked in on me doing anything untoward. I'm usually just chilling on my bed or studying at my desk. However, on at least 7 separate occasions now, she's done it first thing in the morning to ask if I want coffee. I sleep naked. Every time prior to the last one, I've been under the covers and she hasn't seen anything. I always point out that she could have, and she just giggles and says, but I didn't. When she stayed over last week, in order to make my point, I intentionally slept on top of the covers. Sure enough, she barges in at 7 a.m., begins to ask if I want coffee, and sees my you-know-what. She immediately backed out of the room and didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. My mate later pulled me aside and said I was bang out of order, accused me of deliberately exposing myself, and pointed out that I'd threatened to do it before. I literally just said, okay, but what if I had no covers on and you saw everything before? They're now framing this to others that I'm some sick creep who intentionally got naked and lay in wait of her because that's how I get my rocks off. And I'm kind of seeing how it came off that way. Am I the asshole for doing this? Not the asshole. She knew it was a risk when she barged in. How is she not the pervert? Also, have you considered getting a lock? Everyone sucks here. She needs to respect privacy, but yeah, you knew full well what she would do, and rather than talk to your friend like an adult about how uncomfortable it makes you, you knowingly and deliberately exposed yourself to her. Edit, a lot of people have replied asking how it's deliberate, and I've said it a few times, but he knew she'd see him naked. He was exposed where he had previously not been exposed. In knowing she entered his room without knocking, he knew she would see him naked. His intent was that she see him naked. Edit 2. I think it may seem like I don't think she's as in the wrong, but I think she's more in the wrong. But why she sucks is obvious and requires little explanation. Spending more time explaining why I think he sucks too is necessary, and may have given the false impression that I think he's more wrong. My apologies for not making that clear in the first place. I hadn't expected for this to get more than almost no attention. Everyone sucks here. Might be that I'm the minority here, but everyone in this is the asshole. Her for not being a decent person and knocking, the BF for not explaining the rules of the house and generally letting this stuff happen, and you for being so petty as to deliberately expose yourself to your friends to make a point. I get your thought process and all that, but there were several other things that you could have done first instead of that. I mean, you did this intentionally so she would see you naked. That was your goal, even if the reason behind it was to punish her and not for sex reasons. So they're not entirely wrong. Everyone sucks here, but they suck a lot and you only suck a little. Yeah, definitely you made the big jump there, buddy. I probably wouldn't have done that. I would have talked to my friend, my childhood best friend, but no, you expose yourself to somebody without their consent. So I think everybody does suck here. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend to shut the f*** up after she insulted my sister's thighs? I'm 30 and my 12-year-old sister is living with me right now because mom and pops are vulnerable, so it made more sense for me to care for my sis for the time being. She is really a great kid, and TBH, I feel in a lot of ways she's like my own kid because my mom and dad don't speak English, so I kind of had to raise my sis in ways that they couldn't. Hard to explain, but I'm sure anyone with a secondary culture will get what I mean. My mom and dad are great parents, but having having an English-speaking person to guide you through stuff when you live in an English-speaking country is invaluable, IMO. And my sister trusts me with stuff she won't necessarily trust my parents with. Anyway, my girlfriend was FaceTiming me and my sister walked past in shorts and a t-shirt because it's hot. My GF waited till my sister had left the area, but not the room, and made a face and said, maybe feed her less, OP. Her thighs are kind of chunky. I saw red and told her to shut the f*** up. Just came out of my mouth and immediately ended the call. My sister is a bit chubby, but for fuck's sake, who says stuff like that about a 12-year-old girl? Literally everybody I know has been texting me that I'm a POS boyfriend and that how can I disrespect my girlfriend like that? I'm expecting an apology from her, but to my shock, everybody is expecting me to apologize. So Reddit, am I the not 12-year-old girls are incredibly vulnerable to body image issues. You're absolutely right to shut down such comments immediately. Not the throw the whole girlfriend away, family first. Are you the for telling your girlfriend to shut the up after she insulted your 12-year-old sister's thighs? Think about this. She insulted a 12-year-old. She is either a mean girl or she is jealous of your sister / relationship with your sister. Neither optic looks good. So not the for telling your ex-girlfriend to shut the up for insulting your sister. Everybody sucks here. The amount of red flag, hope she's your ex, and so on are typical of Reddit black or white replies. What she said was likely directed at OP alone and not for the little sister's ears. It could have been a poor attempt at concern or equally a mean-spirited jab. We don't know because we have no tone of voice, facial expression, or any other communication tools to judge. OP definitely overreacted though, and she put her foot in her mouth. This last guy is dumb. That's not, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for insulting a 12-year-old when you're in your 30s. Messed up, they're the Am I the for telling the girl who kissed my boyfriend for a play that she is desperate and pathetic? I, 19F, study drama at uni, and my boyfriend is on the same course. My boyfriend is a really good-looking guy, but he doesn't seem to know it. He gets a lot of attention from girls, and for the most part, doesn't seem to get that they're flirting with him. I'm not generally annoyed by this and never really say anything. However, there's one girl in our class, let's call her Victoria, who is obsessed with my boyfriend. She goes out of her way to be paired with him in group activities. For example, if the professor picks groups by numbering us 1, 2, 3, she will move herself to be in the same number as him. And she recently stepped down from a main role in a play we're doing so she could be in a more minor role simply because this character has a romance with my boyfriend. I know this is the case because I heard her say to her friends that she thinks he's hot and whatnot. I've never said anything to her about it because she seems pretty insecure, always complaining about how she thinks she's ugly, and I don't see it as a big deal because my boyfriend doesn't care. However, we recently performed the play and had a small after party where she got slightly drunk and was bragging about how she definitely felt something when they kissed in the play, and she's going to ask him if he felt the same. I rolled my eyes and again ignored it until she actually went up to my boyfriend. She was a little bit drunk, and when she went up to him, I was there too. Victoria started saying that she knows he must have felt the spark. He's a really good kisser, etc. I snapped and sort of shouted to her that you sound incredibly desperate going after somebody else's boyfriend. You're pathetic if you think a stage kiss means you should be together. She looked super embarrassed and walked away, and I later heard she'd gone home crying. I feel like a because she's obviously insecure and whatnot, and her friends haven't stopped calling me a since. Am I the Edit, she 100% knows that I'm his girlfriend. I've heard her talking about me being his girlfriend before. Not the she took it way too far. Approaching him about it was out of line. Not the she was delusional, and you brought her back down to earth. Needed to happen. You tried to ignore it, but she kept pushing. Everyone sucks here. This entire thing is very teen. Hopefully you'll both grow out of it soon. Everybody sucks here. You're teenage drama students, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's so much teenage drama here. But come on. You couldn't think of a more appropriate way to address this woman's relentless and obvious daily pursuit of your boyfriend over the course of weeks, if not months, than shouting at her at a party in order to humiliate her? You couldn't, I don't know, at any time just say, hey, I don't know if you realize, but boyfriend and I are in a committed relationship. You all need to grow up. Yeah, probably everybody does suck here. Definitely didn't have to take it that far. I know Victoria is definitely in the wrong, but so are you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.
Truckers of Reddit, what spooky things did you witness on the road? What lengths have you went to keep up a lie? What is illegal but morally right to do? This feels like a loaded question. Piracy of old and or unavailable stuff. While I'm not telling you to go pirate things, I will say I engage in a bit of swashbuckling myself, giving people in hours-long lines water when they want to vote. I'm sorry, that's illegal? What, since when? Stopping the police from beating someone. Yes, 100%. Police should be held accountable. Breaking NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, especially in cases for the greater good. I assume you mean along the lines of like whistleblowing, which, yeah, holding a police officer accountable for breaking the law. I'm not anti-cop, but I'm not an idiot. One of the sacrifices a lot of them make is their own innocence. Flashing your headlights to oncoming traffic to warn them that a speed trap is ahead. Is that what that person did to me the other day, or were they just being a jerk? Putting quarters in parking meters so other people's cars don't get ticketed. Stopping in the middle of the road for a crossing family of ducks. If anything, the ducks are doing the illegal thing here. Jaywalking, not even at a duck crossing sign? Come on. Which comedian has the best stand-up shows? Really digging Mark Normand. Oh boy, I'm not gonna know any of these people, am I? Super underrated comedian I haven't seen mentioned yet is Gary Gulman. I'm partial to Tom Segura and Nate Bargatze. Bargatze? It used to be Mitch Hedberg. It still is, but it used to be too. Dave Attell is pretty underrated, IMO. Bill Burr kills. I still think my favorite thing Bill Burr did recently is when he was on Joe Rogan and called him a knuckle-dragging ape. Like, it's just perfect. Billy Connolly. I've seen Billy live a couple of times, and he is by far the most adept storyteller I've ever seen. He manages to sidetrack himself, crack an unrelated joke, which causes another sidetrack, making funny anecdotes at every turn without ever completely losing where he is. Always funny, and somehow it all makes sense and fits together. He's a naturally funny man who's worked for years to perfect the art of being funny on stage, and it really shows. George Carlin, may he rest ever in peace. What does everyone criticize but still do anyway? Judging people. It is funny how that works. People judge people for judging people. It's kind of like, doesn't that cancel out? Talking bad about people. Complain about how dumb everyone is getting, and then do nothing to promote good learning habits at home. Parents bear some responsibility for their child's learning. Stop dumping it all on teachers and the government. Being stingy with money. I love charity in concept, but having people walking up to me asking for small amounts of money annoys me so much more than it really should. Falling prey to groupthink. Mob mentality is really hard to recognize when you are, a part of the mob. People criticizing Nestle yet still buy Nestle, me included. Well, you see, the one way to fix that is to stop buying Nestle products. Social media in general. Twitter is a hellhole, but still the best way of following people whose work I enjoy. TikTok is a waste of time, but it gives me an endless supply of cute animal videos. Reddit is Reddit. I hate them all, but keep going back for more. It is the curse because it really just gives you that instant dopamine that you need at the time, but it's so fleeting. You get offered $100 an hour to watch any movie on repeat. Which movie do you choose? Probably Everything Everywhere All at Once. I can deal with the crying as many times as possible because it's just fun. It doesn't really matter. After a dozen back-to-back watches, you're not going to be enjoying anything. With that in mind, I'm going with Shrek because the meme potential of being able to recite the entire movie word for word would be pretty good. Mulholland Drive, maybe. Watching it 1,000 times will give up some of the mysteries of that effing thing. Groundhog Day. I feel like this is the only acceptable answer, LOL. It's definitely the most appropriate. Can I just watch Lawrence of Arabia twice a day? Permission to select the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy? Alright, but if you're doing it, you have to do the extended director's cut. You can't do the standard. A goofy movie. You know what? Yeah, I can watch this enough. Fifth Element. Still need to get around to it because I love the aesthetic in every picture I've seen of it. What's a celebrity with absolutely zero controversy? Sean Astin, my fave. Weird Al Yankovic. Decades-long career so devoid of controversy that they actually made some up for the faux biopic Weird, starring Daniel Radcliffe. I mean, he's just so nice and whimsical. How can he have controversy? Steve Carell. I really haven't ever heard anything about Steve Carell. Dolly. She's had to have had something, right? David Attenborough. Long live the king of nature. His only controversy is when he's gonna retire, LOL. He'll never retire. Not truly. He knows his work is too important. Jack Black. You can really tell when a celebrity knows to just stay in their lane. Aubrey Plaza. I mean, she might have killed someone, but who cares, right? Who's the most famous person you've ever met? Oh god, I met Rob Dyrdek once before ridiculousness was his main thing, and that was cool, I guess. Daniel Radcliffe worked out at my university's rec center for about a month because his girlfriend used to work at the rec back in her college days. They were in town visiting her family. Carol Burnett. I even asked her to do the Tarzan yell, and she did. Bruce Dickinson, lead singer of Iron Maiden, had breakfast in a hotel with Snoop Dogg for some business deal back then. I met Carrie Fisher at Comic-Con once. She gave me a big hug and I told her I loved her. She said, I know. I got to pet her dog. Ringo Starr. He and his wife were my passengers on a flight many years ago. They were both awesome. George Clooney. I pissed him off by telling him I loved him as Batman, which which is why I did it. Nicolas Cage at Downtown Disney when I was like 10 or so. I only recognized him because for whatever reason I had and seen Gone in 60 Seconds a bunch of times. What app you will never install? I would suggest OP get Grammarly, but I don't think they will. Any game that has annoying 30-second ads that then have a fake close button or make you wait before you can close it. Raid Shadow Legends, I'm looking at you. And you know, speaking of Raid Shadow Legends, we are not sponsored, so I'm not doing an ad read. TikTok came here just to answer this. The only answer. Instagram. I used it for a bit. One day I do a search for a very unique item on my browser. Then later that morning, my significant other in another city texts me saying she got a strange ad for something that she'd never buy and seemed of to her. It was what I had searched for. She didn't have Instagram, but instead had Facebook, who owns Instagram. They share everything. TikTok. Is there a clock somewhere? Like, I just keep hearing this sound. Raid Shadow Legends. Real. But bro, with our promo code, you get 500 gold and a free champion. Again, not sponsored. You're safe for now. But Reddit, wait a minute. This one is a bit suspicious. Well, hey, maybe they're just using it on desktop. You never know. Twitter. I love watching it from a distance. What is the absolute best concert you've ever been to? Jimi Hendrix, John Mayall, and Albert King at the Hinterland Auditorium in SF on February 2nd, 1968, on my first date with my husband. Alright, honestly, you just win. You win the question. Queen with Thin Lizzy opening, 1978. My stupid brain read that as Thin Lizzo, and I was like, that's a little rude. Like, what? Pink Floyd, The Wall. Third night at Earl's Court, either late 1979 or early 1980. I was 12, LOL. Simon and Garfunkel free concert in Central Park, 1981. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon tour. God, all of these are actually really good. I wish. Florence and the Machine, closest I've ever gotten to a religious experience. Fleetwood Mac and U2. Michael Jackson was pretty amazing too. Damian Marley, Rockin' Roma, Rome, Italy, 2015. Absolutely effing amazing. Non-Brazilians, when you think of Brazil, what comes to your mind? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, football. Ronaldinho made me a Barca fan. Haven't looked back ever since. Also, the culture of dance and carnivals. I find it very lively. Nuts. Why would... Oh, the Brazil nut. Yeah, okay. A Brazilian wax, TBH. My cousin's wife is Brazilian, and she's one of my favorite people to see at family get-togethers. She's hilarious. Samba. Venga Boys. Hang on, the Venga Boys are Brazilian? That's like really weird to find out. I don't know why. Anyone like being an adult? What's good about it? This question is not doing good things for my recent existentialism. I can eat ice cream whenever I goddamn feel like it, Mom. I go to bed early because I want to. Weirdly, I felt that. I've been trying to sleep earlier. People taking you more seriously and also not having to rely on other people anymore. If you view it in terms of what an adult wants, being an adult can be wearying. But if you view it in terms of what a child would want, being an adult rocks. I can eat candy and watch R-rated movies whenever I want. I can jump on the bed, I can see naked ladies and touch their pieces. I can drive my car fast on country roads, playing the music loud and shouting swears. When you frame it like that, yeah, it's a little fun. I like having power over my own body. Well, unfortunately, due to some legislation, that might be taken away. I can eat dessert for breakfast and breakfast for dessert. If it were up to me, and it kind of is, I could eat breakfast for every meal of the day. One time I went to CVS for shampoo and realized I could also buy candy and stickers just because I could. It really is the little things that bring you joy. If you want to leave somewhere, you just walk to your car and drive off. I have done this many times. Which soup is the most superior? I see what you did there, you silly little goose. Tomato soup with some grilled cheese. I have been craving this combo for so long and I've been let down every time I try. French onion. I haven't had enough of it in my lifetime to really have an opinion. Clam chowder is my personal favorite. If it's in a bread bowl, then it's in my stomach. Pho. Haven't found any that I'm super fond of, but I'm not against it. Chicken and dumpling soup. Potato and leek. Gonna be true to myself because f*** the haters. I love mushroom soup. I like a good chicken and coconut soup, honestly. The taste is euphoric. Does pho or ramen count as soup? Well, as we already kind of considered pho, then yeah, ramen fits in. What is something you did as a child that you never quite grew out of? When I'm sick, I want to make a blanket fort and watch Kablam. The only difference is now I'm in my 30s and nobody can stop me. Enjoying toys and building with things like Legos. Legos are for people of all ages. Collecting little trinkets. I love having little porcelain animals or cool rocks or stickers to decorate my space. And now I can put things all over my whole apartment instead of just my room. Pulling the covers over my head and pretending that it's a protective shield. I'm 64. Hey, you're never too old to try and feel safe. Laying over a heating vent under a blanket to trap all the heat. Heat. Hiding in my room, reading a book and drinking tea. I was basically born a 70-year-old grandma. Thumb sucking. Alright, depending on your age, I might have some problems with that. What makes you hate a kid? A lot of reasons. If they knowingly harm animals. I think if it's like a one-time thing, it was curiosity. If it's continued behavior, that's scary. The parents. You can tell a lot about a kid by seeing how their parents act. Tantrums, crying, when they don't listen, when they are disrespectful, when they hurt animals, when they make a lot of noise, when they are gross. I mean, that pretty much just sums up children in general. I don't hate the kid, but he hits and taunts my daughter. They are both 5 and he smiles while doing it because he knows his mom won't punish him. She blatantly tells everyone he is her favorite and it shows in every way imaginable. So really, I think a lot of it has to do with the child's parents. As they get older and their personalities really come out, then my mindset changes some on that. But as an early childhood educator, I definitely lean on the parents being at fault most of the time on why children are the way they are. That obvious but still hard to notice, I think you are a peasant kind of attitude. Kids really do have that attitude sometimes, like, and where does it come from? For me, it's if they are incredibly disgusting. I know most kids will be to some degree, but if they sneeze in your face or wipe boogers on you, then that's pretty much the line. Kicking the back of my seat on a plane or in a cinema. Bonus points if their parents are sitting right behind their kid and saying and doing nothing. When they scream. Sometimes I'll see a kid and think, aw, they're kinda cute. But as soon as they open their mouth and do that whistle register shriek, I want to drop kick their little ass. I don't like screaming in general, but kids' screams are just the worst. I love my children. I think your children are obnoxious hell beasts. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. What is your best joke that gets a laugh every time? Rick Astley will let you borrow any movie from his Pixar collection, except one. He's never gonna give you Up. It's so corny. It's so, but like you can't not like it. What do you call an alligator wearing a vest? An investigator. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one. But the light bulb has to want to change. My friends are all mentally ill. How does Harry Potter get down a hill? Walking. JK, rolling. What's the best part about living in Switzerland? I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. What do you call a psychic little person who escaped from prison? A small medium at large. What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One's real heavy and the other is a little lighter. What's blue but not very heavy? Light blue. Oh, I'd hate this one in real life. Never say this to me. Have you heard the joke about the butter? Oh, well, I butter not tell you. You might spread it. This is a tricky joke to tell right because there's a decent margarine for error. What do you call an unfunny joke? This entire thread. Oh my god, you got him. What band from the 90s still puts out bangers? Daft Punk until recently. We can all hope and dream that they'll come back, but it's not very likely. De La Soul. I know technically they started in the late 1980s. You know them from Feel Good Inc., but their catalog is very deep and there are so many gems in there. Live shows are amazing. As a former prison employee, You Don't Want a BDS is top 5 favorite song. Deftones. Foo Fighters. It is a little strange how big Everlong is getting recently. Offspring and Green Day. Has Green Day put anything out recently? I at least haven't heard of it. Weezer puts out a couple good songs every other album. You just gotta sift through a lot of the filler that Rivers puts out in his sleep. That SNL skit summed up perfectly what it's like to be a Weezer fan. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Smashing Pumpkins. Nickelback. Come on, he didn't deserve downvotes. He's just a super fan. What is the advantage of dating you? I will spoil this person as good as a poor man can. Cook meals and the beer is on me because this person deserves it. I don't have the self-confidence to date you, let alone start a relationship with someone else. I am incapable of cheating. My wife told me that my looks got her interested, but it was the direct deposit and health benefits that pushed her over the edge. In this economy, I can't blame her. I make a delicious lasagna. Garfield has entered the chat. Apparently, I'm too nice. I've been told that by many friends. I have no idea how to take that. I make enough that you wouldn't have to work, and because I'm away all the time, you could have your side piece. You know, I can't think of one. LOL. It is a pretty tough question. I don't blame you.
I'm small. I'm baby. You can yeet me out the window whenever you're mad. I'm also the most clingy person on earth, so be sure I will not cheat.
Probably my ass and my money. Plus, I'm funny. What are things you are passionate about that no one in your social circle likes? Formula 1, Survivor. I'm definitely not up to date on the Survivor lore, but it's fun enough. Playing music in an orchestra. Ancient history. Well, yeah, cause that's for nerds, duh. I'm kidding, it's cool to be interested in that. I really love hiking, but sadly none of my friends want to go with me, and I have a fear of being murdered alone in the woods, so I haven't gone in such a long time. Movies. People here like movies, but apparently not as much as me. Taylor Swift and My Chemical Romance. Interesting combination there. All of the Real Housewives franchises. Damn, good for you. It's a lot. Mindfulness practice. I don't think I've ever heard of that. You'd need to give an explanation there, pal. Drag race / drag queens. Slay. Weird response, OP. What are you doing? What's a deal breaker for you at restaurants? If the table is sticky and it gets stickier after they wipe it. That is kind of gross and weird. Like, even though it might still be clean, it's just uncomfy. Loud music. I've been in restaurants before where I can't hear myself think, let alone hear people opposite me talk. Edit. Comments were irritating me, so I amended. If you go to a Mexican / Tex-Mex spot and the chips and salsa are terrible, just pack it up and leave. Nothing will get better. Tables packed closely together to the point where you might as well just be sitting with the strangers next to you. The smell when you walk in. If you can smell sewage, mold, or excessive bleach or ammonia when you walk in over the food, turn around. No prices on the menu. If I'm going to spend money, I want to know how much I'm going to spend. Just tell me the steak is $40 for F's sake. Owners being rude to staff in front of guests. Yeah, that's generally a sign that the place is run horribly and shouldn't be given money. Ever walk on a floor mopped with sugary water? Yeah, that stickiness will have me turning around instantly. Being super loud. Like other people, the restaurant in general, there's some details we're missing. What old video games do still hold up? At least in my opinion, just since I played it relatively recently, Assassin's Creed 2 is pretty good still. Some of the ideas of old in this thread makes my knees hurt. It's hard for me to think of anything with an HDMI out as old. Roller Coaster Tycoon. Banger back then, banger today. Age of Empires 2. Considering people still recommend it, I suppose so. Tetris. It is the perfect game, really. Civilization 2. I don't know if I'd go that far back. I'm more prone to Civ 5, but that's just me. Yoshi's Island. I have Yoshi's Island, but the cartridge is a little broken and I need to fix it so I can play again. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Burnout 3, without question. They just don't make games like Burnout anymore. Super Mario 3. Love how if you want to pick up and play just a certain world, say Little Big Land, Ice Caverns, or even the Cloud Realm, all you gotta do is grab a couple flutes in the first few levels and go. Portal and Portal 2. Oh, yikes, that's kind of gross thinking Portal 2 is old. Ugh. Which historical figure is mistakenly idolized? There are a few I can think of. Optimus Prime wasn't even a real truck. You shut your damn mouth. Don't ever besmirch that hero's name. Jebediah Springfield. The truth shall be revealed about that fake man. Santa. He spies on kids and breaks into people's houses only when they are asleep. Kinda creepy, not gonna lie. Thomas Edison. A lot of American history figures are not the best people. Gandhi is an obvious one. Above all, he was a politician. John Lennon. Learned recently what an a-hole he was. Both him and Yoko. Paradoxically, their son has turned out to be a decent enough man. Columbus, right? I do really wish he never discovered the Americas. What a silly question. Idolization of anyone is a mistake. Idolizing people is a problem in general. Respect accomplishments. Don't idolize anyone. They're just a person too, like you. This is actually a really good sentiment because if you think about it, people in history were just people. They're not these special figures. What's something that screams pretentious? Asks the question, do you know who I am? Hate those fucking assholes. No, I don't and you don't know me either. A little heated, but I see your point. Having someone take a picture of you giving money to the homeless. If you want to do a good deed, then do a good deed. Don't get someone to film you doing it so you can get brownie points from other people. They keep claiming they know so-and-so famous and wealthy people. I haven't been this upset since my friend Taylor was rudely upstaged backstaged by my other friend Kanye, who was defending my best friend Beyonce. Disrespecting people who work in professions you deem to be easy or in the service industry. I dare anybody who does this to go work a rush shift at McDonald's. Go do it. You will not survive properly. Having food with gold leaf on it. If you pay extra for food that just has like gold dye on it, basically, you're so dumb. A guy at work used the term cross-functional synergy to describe a group project. To me, that sounds like corporate wording to make people feel excited about doing something different when it's really just boring. Pretentious? Moi? Oh no, I wasn't talking about you, of course not. I am bilingual because I lived in East Germany as a child and my mother spoke German. I got corrected by a coworker for saying Audi wrong. She told me it was pronounced like Audi. She drove an Audi and she insisted I was wrong. Pretentious chick would not just let it go. Edit. I have a mild American Southern accent. In her defense, she probably thought I didn't know better or that I couldn't possibly know better. That's not much of a defense either. Fake accents. I was reading an article about Johnny Depp and it said, not even Johnny Depp knows what he sounds like anymore. I mentioned this to my sister and she said, isn't he British? I'm like, no, he's from Kentucky. He's been playing a drunken pirate for too long, I guess. Gary Oldman told a story about the fact he worked so many jobs playing Americans that he actually lost his accent and had to go to a professional to teach him how to sound like himself again. I think that's pretty funny. That is a pretty big testament to how committed they are to their jobs sometimes. When someone says, you must not have a sophisticated palate if you don't like a food that person likes. If they're saying it for like a joke, then it's fine, but if they're genuinely serious, there's something wrong with them. What should society denormalize? Always needing to be busy with something. Sometimes you just want to do you and relax. Lack of sleep. It damages your body and mind way more than people think it does. I misread the title as a re-normalize, and I thought everyone posting was a psycho, trying to turn every hobby/skill into a business or convincing people to do so. The unfortunate thing is when you turn a hobby into a business, then you stop liking the hobby, and then you're forced to continue it because it's a business. Celebrity culture. Please, for the love of God, I sincerely don't give a single shit about what any out-of-touch pricks did with their cereal, spouse, ex-spouse, or effing toenails. Their toxicity is literally poisoning the well of our society. Overworking yourself. Trust me, it is not a flex to work 80 plus hours a week because you are actually just harming yourself, expecting you to be constantly connected to your phone. I hate all the implicit social rules about text messaging and getting back to people and crap. Oh no, your feelings got hurt because I didn't respond in 2 minutes to your meme? I'm so sorry. It's not like I wasn't, I don't know, busy or something. Food wastage. Lots of stores and restaurants throw out substandard food to maintain a level of quality that makes customers trust them, but it leads to enormous waste. $8 coffee. Yeah, I don't drink that piss. I only drink $9 coffee. What lengths have you went to keep up a lie? I used to sit in my car for hours a day to act like I went out. I was too scared of my parents to tell them I dropped out of college. I eventually got a job and used that as a cover until I had enough to move out. I've spent more than 8 years in the same residence. My neighbors are quite welcoming. Every time they see me go outside, they say hello, especially the wife. Every time she'll wave, say, "Hi, Rebecca," and flash a wide smile. Rebecca is not my name. At this time, it would be too awkward to fix. I simply had to take responsibility for it. I mean, everybody changes their name at one point in time. My partner and I pretended to be vegetarian for 10 years to avoid her aunt's awful cooking. By the end, we were actually vegetarian. None of my family knows how I met my wife. They think I met her in California through a friend out there when I was in the military. We actually met on Tumblr. We've been married almost 10 years. Met my wife on one of those telephone chat dating things in the 90s. Basically, before OkCupid, you would sign up for a voicemail and describe yourself. We connected and went out, but we're both embarrassed for using it. Fast forward 18 years, we continue to tell everyone we met in the music section at Borders. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but the 90s ended more than 18 years ago. Oh, yuck, don't say that. Come on, man. Not me, but when I started as a newspaper journalist 20 years ago, our leader writer was a man called Edward. I only found out when he retired after 45 years with the paper that his name wasn't Edward at all. When he started aged 16, one of the paper's owners showed him around and had misheard his name. He was too nervous to correct the owner, so he went by the wrong name for nearly 50 years. His name is Dudley. Again, see, people change their name for less. I once burnt chocolate chip cookies cookies I was making for a baby shower. In a last-ditch effort, I picked up 24 cookies from McDonald's. My plan wasn't to mention anything to anyone, but one of our close friends was asking about the recipe, and I said it was a McDonald's copycat recipe I found on Pinterest. I quickly found a recipe I'd never tried before and shared it with her. My husband jumped on board and supported me, even though he knew the truth. He even promised to never tell a soul about the McDonald's cookies. It's been about 3 years now and nothing ever came of it, but it's one lie that he and I joke about every so often. Let's just hope your friends don't see this post, otherwise your goose is cooked. I had to be in 6th grade when one of my teachers threatened to call home. I didn't want to get in trouble, and in like a sarcastic way, I said I don't have a home. I was actually in my dad's custody and didn't really talk much to my mom, so I was just trying to stop them from calling my dad. My teacher actually took that serious, and I had to talk to my school counselor trying to convince him I was homeless and my parents abandoned me. It only took a couple of calls to call out my bullshit, but I guess I took it pretty far. Went on like 2 to 3 days. I married my wife after knowing her for 2 days so she could get her citizenship. Her friend asked me to do a favor, and I was just like, F it, sure. We celebrate 17 years of marriage this year and 2 kids. Best decision I've ever made. But the lie is, when people ask how we met, we say we met through mutual friends, and that's that. I mean, it's not entirely a lie, so it's not the worst. I once wrote and published a children's book to cover up a lie I told to a girl I liked. The sheer amount of effort it took to write a children's book instead of just telling the truth is kind of crazy. Truckers of Reddit, what spooky things did you witness on the road? My wife's grandfather hauled fruit and potatoes across the Northwest and Central Plains. From what he would talk about, I swear he was a serial killer. He had found or been questioned about a half dozen deaths at rest stops. Most, if not all, were determined suicide. He also talked about all the rich women that drove SUVs and how frequently he would see them masturbating at red lights. Guy was a real character. I do not like this answer. A fresh solo traffic accident. The car was flipped upside down on its roof. The driver's head was halfway out to the neck, through the shattered front window. He did not have a seatbelt on. Was driving my car with my GF down the Jersey Turnpike at night. Up ahead, a large glow. As we got closer, we realized it was an 18-wheeler completely engulfed in flames, stopped in the right lane. Driver nowhere to be seen. Called it in? Don't know what happened to the driver. I once saw a deer under an overpass, but for some reason it was wearing jeans. I'm not so sure that was a deer. My CB radio automatically switched on and crackled for a while as I was driving through an abandoned neighborhood in Baltimore at 3 in the morning. I ain't got no panties on. Some voice on the radio abruptly announced in a thick southern drawl. I could see for miles along the motorway, but I didn't see a single set of headlights. I saw an Audi driver use their indicators. Okay, mate, at least tell believable stories. Oh yeah, what's next? You're gonna tell me a BMW driver was going the speed limit? If you're being forced to operate into exhaustion, the visual hallucinations come on pretty strong. Yeah, doing anything overly exhausted or tired, you're gonna see some weird stuff. I worked nights at a truck stop when I was a teenager, and a Pepsi driver told me a story once. He said he had to drop the rig off at a service shop in Illinois. We are from Indiana, so his wife drove up to get him. On their way home, they were taking the back roads just trying to enjoy each other's company when they saw a bunch of naked people dancing around a fire in some backyard. It wasn't quite dark out yet and put a lot of emphasis on how mad his wife was for him wanting to stop the car to see some. Well, alright, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you all once again for watching. I love you. My name has been Brandon, and I'll talk to you another day. Bye.